were introduced to the sine rule. I didn't go through the derivation, but we are only focused on the application of the sine rule. So basically in the sine rule, whenever we are given a triangle, let's just call this A, B, C. Now I want you to notice that the points or the vertex of a triangle is always written in capital letters. Okay, if you didn't notice that before, please do notice it. And usually we would say that the opposite side is the small letter. So this one is the small a. The opposite side of B is actually the small b, and the opposite side of C is the small c. Now the sine rule is very simple, it's very elegant because it tells us one thing. All we have to do is to pair up the angle with its side. That means if I say sine A, the angle of sine A over the side, which is the small a, is equals to the sine B over the small b, and is also equals to the sine C over the small c. Okay, so this is a relationship that we know, that we have to know, okay, from what we learned yesterday. A very simple to use formula that all of you must be able to know how to use. If you know how this thing works, you shouldn't have any problems. Now, so let's go through an example to help us to recap. Let's look at question number 5. Okay, we're going to look at question number 5 in order for us to recap on what we need to know. Let's look at this question. What does it want us to find? This question wants us to find the length of TU, right? So it is this length over here. Okay, this question wants us to find the length of TU, which is this length over here. Now, this side that they want us to find, okay, this side that they want us to find, now we see that this side that they want us to find is already paired up with this particular angle over here, right? We have the side and the angle. But the thing is, we have another side, which I'll highlight over for you over here. We have another side over here, but do we have the angle over there? We don't, right? We don't have the angle in blue over there. But the first thing is, can you actually find out what this angle is? So this angle here is angle SUT. Okay, so the first step that you want to do is to find out what angle SUT is. So angle SUT would be 180 minus 65 minus 40. Okay, use your calculator. You should find out that that gives you 75 degrees. Okay, the reason is the angle sum in a triangle. Because we know that the angle sum in a triangle adds up to 180. So therefore we know that angle SUT is 180. Now what is the purpose of finding this 180? The purpose of finding, not 180, 75. The purpose of finding this angle over here is so that we have a matching pair, right? We know the length of one side, we know the opposite angle. So straight away, I can write down this relationship. My sine of 75 over 6.6 will be equals to the length, sine 65 divided by the length of UT, which is what I want to find. But I can tell you like letting it be UT sometimes can be very confusing because it seems like as if there are two variables over here. So what I would usually do for myself is I'll let what I want to find be X. So here I can just replace it with X because it's a little bit more natural for me personally. But it's fine if you want to leave it as UT, it's completely fine, or TU. Okay? So at this stage, I'll do step by step because I realized yesterday that some of you are a little bit lost to find the value of X. So we're going to do this step by step. So once we are here, the first thing we want to do is to cross multiply, right? So we cross multiply, we follow the arrows. I'm going to get X sine 75 is equals to 6.6 times sine 65. At this stage, if you want to find out the value of X, then we will divide both sides by sine 75. Okay, we'll divide both sides by sine 75. Some of you get very confused. Yesterday, some of you text me and ask me, hey, how come at this stage I cannot use sine inverse? You must know that sine 75 is basically a number. Okay, sine 75 is basically a number. If you are confused, don't worry. You just enter in your calculator right now. So I can enter sine 75. Make sure your calculator is in the degree mode. You get 0.9659. Leave it to maybe 4 decimal place, 4 or 5 decimal place. Let's say in 5 decimal place. 2x is equals to 6.6 times sine 65. Same, I'm going to leave it to maybe 4 decimal place or 5 significant figures. Okay, so you can see here that if you want to find the value of x, then you will divide both sides by 0.96592, which would give you 6.19. This is to 3 significant figures. Okay, did they give you any units here? Yes. This is cm, so this is 3 significant figures. Okay, so basically this is how we will do this problem. I just want to emphasize again that the harder type of questions, okay, the harder type of questions, what they will try to do is they will not give you this angle. The harder type of questions, they will not give you this angle. But really, it isn't that hard if you are familiar with your set 1 work. If you know that the total sum of angles in a triangle adds up to 180, then actually this problem is not hard at all. Okay, it is hard for some of you because you don't know how to find this angle, because it's not given to you. Okay, so you just have to know that all the sum of angles in the triangle add up to 180. You can find this one. You are familiar with the sine rule. That means as long as you find 2 matching pairs, you will be able to find the unknown. Okay, so yes. So for example, some of you left your answer at 6.2. In general, if you have sine, then this would be an irrational number. If you go and flip to all of your exam papers, all of it, even in the whole level, they will tell you if it's irrational, if it's non-exact, leave your answer to 3 significant figures. The only exceptions would be angles and what's the last exception? Anyone remember? What's this? Money. Okay, money is 2 decimal places, angles is 1 decimal place. That's the only exception. Okay? Now, let's look at question number 6. Let's look at question number 6. Let's find out what they want us to find. Okay, question number 6, they want us to find angle ABC. So where is angle ABC? Angle ABC is over here. Okay, they want us to find this angle ABC. Now, this is another sort of supposed to be a harder question. Why? Because if you realize, if you want to find this angle, they must give you this side. They must give you the opposite side. But in this case, if they never give you the opposite side, then what can you do? Straight away, you must think. Okay, if they never give you the opposite side, it's fine. What other information did they give you? You have one of the sides, right? You know that you have this particular angle over here, and you have its corresponding side. It's fine. Then you have another side which is 12.5. My question to you is it okay to actually find this angle? Is it okay to find this angle? Right, it's fine, right? You can actually find this angle first, and once you know these 2 angles, automatically you will know the third. Okay, so this type of question is how they will try to make your life a little bit more difficult. Try to make the questions a little bit more difficult. But you just need to be very sure. They will always like to test you angle sum in a triangle. Okay? So for this case, let us find this angle first. And to make our life easier, let's call this angle x. Okay, this mystery angle x over here. So I'll call this angle x. So how would I do this? Can you try by yourself first? Can you write out the relationship out? I'll help you with the first one. Since we know that it's sine 92 divided by 15.2, it should be equals to something. You must match this thing up together. Can you try by yourself first? Okay? It's important for you to try. I'll give you about 2 minutes to be able to try to do this. Okay, so you must let this be equals to something. look at your own worksheet, try to match it up. Okay, for those of you who are done, you can move on. Yes, so you leave to 3SF. No, but in the end, angle is not 3SF, angle is 1 decimal place. Okay, leave your answer for angle to 1 decimal place. Try to match it. Okay, you have to try, not just copy. Because if you just copy, you realize that you're going to get quite disappointed. Okay, I'm going to go through because of time. So the other matching pair would be sine x divided by 12.5. Okay, it'll give me sine x divided by 12.5 because that's the matching pair. The sine of this angle with its opposite length. So, once I'm here, all I need to do is just do some cross multiplication. So I'm going to get 15.2 sine x. I took 15.2 times sine x is equals to 12.5 sine 92. So if this confuses you, you just try to enter the calculator whatever you can first. Let's enter this in the calculator. 12.5 times sine 92. So I get 12.4923. Leave 2 more decimal places is okay. Okay, and of course here is just 15.2 sine x. So if I want to find out what is sine x, I'll divide both sides by 15.2. So I'll get 12.4923 divided by 15.2. And what I'll get is sine x is equals to 0.8218. 6. Let's leave 2 more decimal places to make our answer a bit more accurate. Now this is where a lot of you get confused. Here is where some of you will text me and say that, hey, if I want to find the value of x, can I just divide both sides by sine? If I want to find the value of x, can I divide both sides by sine? Can I divide by sine and divide by sine over here? Sure, you can. Try and enter, tell me what's the answer. You'll get error, right? You cannot do that. Okay? When it comes to sine, if you want to get rid of this sine over here, and this is very important, what we can do, and the only thing we can do over here, is to make a sine inverse on both sides. That means we are going to sine inverse the left and the right side. The sine inverse and the sine will neutralize each other such that you are only left with x. Then the right hand side will simply be the sine inverse of 0.82186. That's how you get the answer, okay, of 55.3 degrees. This is the 1 decimal place. Okay, that's how you get an answer. I hope it's clearer for some of you. This last step is something that a lot of you are confused about. Okay, the last step is something that a lot of you are confused about. Now, x is 55.3, that shouldn't be your final answer, right? Because if you read this question, they want you to find out what is ABC. ABC is actually this angle over here, the one in yellow, okay, the one that I highlighted in yellow. So if you know that, let me delete off all these things, if you know that this angle over here is 55.3, are you able to find this yellow angle already? Can, right? Angle ABC would simply be 180 minus 92 minus 55.3, which will give you 32.7 degrees. The reason? Angle sum in a triangle. That's it. Okay, that's how they try to make your life a little bit more difficult. Okay, that's how they try to make your life a little bit more difficult. Now, if you're okay with this, let's move on to the next one. The next one is a hard one. Okay, question number 7 and question number 8 is supposed to be a hard one. So if you are a bit lost about this one, it's okay. Actually, it's not really hard. It's just that, remember yesterday I told you that individually, when we study 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 areas of triangle, obtuse angle, and now we learn the sine rule, they are easy by itself, but when you need to combine all of those knowledge together, it can be quite difficult. So this is one example of which it can be difficult because you have to combine, not because it is hard. So let's look at 7a together. Okay, they say in the diagram, AB is 7 cm, BC is 8, and AC is 9. Everything is drawn. They want to calculate the value of sine A over sine C. Now this is something that we are not familiar with, right? Sine A over sine C. But all we have to do is to look at this diagram over here, and we recognize that this is the sine A. This is the angle A. This is the angle C. And we do know that there's this particular relationship, right? The angle should match it with one of the pairs of sides. Secondly, we know that the angle must match with the other pair of sides. So we can straight away write that we know that sine A over 8 must be equals to sine C over 7. Now with this, can you try to do part A by yourself? Try to do part A by yourself. I'll give you a clue. Okay, you have to work it out yourself, because if everything I give you the answer, right, you're not going to learn. Can you cross multiply first? Cross multiply first, then you manipulate it until you get that ratio. Okay, until you get sine A over sine C. You have to try. Okay, you really have to try. If you don't try, you will never know. Because if you don't try in an exam and you see this type of question again, you have no familiarity at all. You don't remember that you did such a question before, when you have. Okay, so when you are done, you can look up and compare your answer with mine. I'll do step by step so you can compare your answer with mine. Okay, so when we cross multiply, you would get this result over here. So we can bring the sine C over, I divide by sine C. Then this 7, I bring it over, I 8 divided by 7. That's how I got this answer. Okay, so the ratio here is just 8 over 7. Of course, actually by right, we shouldn't leave your answer like this, but I think they want you to... By right, we should leave it as a mixed number. But I think in this case, they want you to leave it as a ratio. Okay, so it's fine to leave it like this in this type of question. Okay, now the next one. Okay, for part B, a lot of you get stuck in part B, don't know how to continue. They say if the area of triangle ABC is 12 square root 5 cm square, find sine angle C. So they are basically telling you that this area of this triangle over here is 12 square root 5. Now, when they tell you area, what formula should come into your head? The first one should be half times base times height, right? The first one should be half times base times height. But in this case, if you want to use half times base times height, all the information must be given to you. You must be given the perpendicular height. But in this case, you are not. But there's another formula that will always work, and that we have learned previously in the previous topic. What's that formula? Can you remember? The area of a triangle is half AB sine C, right? Where the C, the angle C is the included angle, right? This is the included angle. What does it mean? That means, if I were to draw, I only draw 2 lines, okay? I know triangle must have 3 closed ends, but basically I'm just trying to draw it by a point. Means this angle is angle C. I have A and B over here. Okay, the third side, not so important. I draw with a dotted line. Okay? So what it tells us is that if you have an included angle, which is the angle C, you just need to half the AB, the sides, the 2 sides of the included angle, and you'll get an area. So with that in mind, if the question wants us to find out what sine C is, where is sine C? They want us to find out, hey, what is this angle over here? Okay, what is this sine C, angle C over here? Then, since we already know that the area is 12 square root 5, And if we want to make use of this sine C, then the two sides that we should be using would be 9 and 8. Right? So we know that this formula should be half 9 times 8 sine angle C. Does it make sense to you? Okay, because the formula tells us the area of the triangle is half AB sine C. So since we know that this sine C is over here, and this A and B must help it to form the included angle, so we must use this 9 and we must use this 8. So with this, can you find out what sine C is? You can, right? So you just need to use your calculator very quickly. And if you just do some manipulation, your sine C will give you square root 3, square root 5 over 3. Okay, just enter this in your calculator and you divide by 12. And then you get the answer to find out what sine C actually is. Okay, any questions? I don't want to assume that this is simple. If you need me to explain one more time, I can. Anyone? Just blink twice if you need help. Okay? Some of you are very scared to raise your hands. Okay, then let's move on to the next one. Okay, everyone's okay with this one, Let's move on. Okay, don't worry if you cannot copy down in time. I think most importantly is for you to listen. Copying down, I'll upload the video later. You can go and copy down, take your whole day to copy down. Okay, fast forward to the portion and copy down. Let's look at question number 8. The triangle ABC is such that AB is 9 cm, angle B is 40, and A over sine A is 10. Now, remember, why do they actually give you this information over here? A over sine A is 10. What does it tell us? It tells us that the ratio of one of the sides is 10, right? It tells us that A, this length A, and this angle A is 10. So if they want you to calculate the value of B, that means it is this one over here. Can we form a relationship? Can we form an equation based on that one? Can I give you about 1 minute to think about it first? I give you 1 minute to think about how to actually do this question. Okay, before I reveal the answer to you. Okay, I already give you a clue. Actually, they already gave you this relationship over here. Okay, so actually this is angle A. They're telling you that angle A, sine A, or A over sine A is equals to 10. So you just need to form another pair of corresponding relationships, make it equal, and then you will be able to find what B is. And then for those of you who are done, you can actually go ahead and solve for angle ACB. Okay, I'll give you about 1 minute to think before I reveal the answer to you, okay? Please try to think. I know a lot of you are just daydreaming, thinking about what to do after school. Okay, it's only the start of the day only. You can think later. Okay, let me go through the answer now. So, since we are already given that A over sine A is equals to 10, let's try to form another pair of relationships that is equal to this. Okay, so this we know is angle A. This and this forms one pair. Since we want to find B, then we know that this B, my apologies. This B over here and this 40 forms another pair. So we know that the length B and sine B, which is 40, forms another pair. But we know that this A over sine A is equals to 10. Right? So we can easily find out what is B from there. Okay, so we quickly cross multiply over here. So we get B is equals to 10 sine 40. Okay, we get B is equals to 10 sine 40. You will get 6.43 cm. Okay, you'll get 6.43 cm. We leave it to 3 significant figures. Okay, we are down to the last one already. I give you a clue, it's exactly the same thing. Okay, the last one, part B, is exactly the same. It's no difference. I erase everything, I give you some hints, but I want you to try to do by yourself. Angle ACB, which angle is that? Angle ACB is angle C actually, this angle over here. Let me highlight in yellow for you. Okay, they want you to find this angle over here. Now, the good thing about this angle is that it already has one of the sides given to you. So as long as you let it equals to one of the ratios, you are golden. You can get the answer. Can you try by yourself first? I give you about 1 minute. Okay, I'll give you about 1 minute. And at the same time, I'm going to give you the new worksheet. Okay, the good thing is after this worksheet, you are done for this chapter. The conclusion of a relatively simple chapter. Did I give short again? Alyssa, time to wake up. Everyone got the worksheet? Okay, so let's quickly go through part B very quickly. Now, since I know the ratio of A over sine A, I'm going to let it compare. A is the side, right? So I know that this side is 9. I'm going to let it equals to 9 over sine C. Because I want to find out what angle ACB is. Angle ACB is basically angle C. Okay? So I'm going to let it be equals to angle... let me write it properly in case... bad handwriting should never be an excuse. Okay, so this is 9 sine C. And I know that this one will be equals to 10. Because sine A over sine A is equals to 10. Now with this, am I able to find out what sine C is? I pause here for a moment. You must make sure you can do this. You understand what I'm doing. Okay? I explain one more time because this is the last question already. I know that I'm given A over sine A, so I'll just write it down, A over sine A. I know that this A is actually this A, is one of the sides. This side over this matching angle is equals to, it must match with the side at its matching angle. So it's 9 sine C. That's how I got this relationship over here. And I let it equal to 10. How do I know it's 10? Because I'm given in the question that A over sine A is 10. Okay, this is the most crucial part. The rest is just basic manipulation. Okay, so once you get here, you can actually cross multiply over here. You cross multiply, you'll get 10 sine C is equals to 9. So sine C is equals to 9 over 10. Here, what you need to do is sine inverse on both sides. I write out all the working, but you don't have to. You don't have to in your exam. Okay, you sine inverse on both sides, and you should get the angle C is 64.2 degrees. Okay, but of course they want you to write down as angle ACB, so you can write down as angle ACB is 64.2 degrees. This is to 1 decimal place. Is everyone okay with this one? Sine rule so far? I think sine rule is not too difficult. Most people are okay with sine rule. Actually, like I say again, actually when I teach you in silos, right? 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, most of you can do it. The difficult part is when I put everything together. Okay, next one. Let's move on.